Hi.
Hi there.
How are
So, here we are.
Here we are.
Another video. Where are we at this time?
We are in Boring, Oregon, just off of Tickle Creek Road. No joke. In fact, we're just a little ways down the road from where we got married 32 years ago in Damascus, Oregon.
Yep, Boring, Oregon. What a name for a town.
Yep. And we actually are sitting on this beautiful farm. Our dear friends Bob and Michelle Peel Underwood. She used to be the director of alumni at Multnomah University, and they're letting us camp right behind me on their beautiful property. We're loving it.
Michelle was a lot of the inspiration for what Angie and I are doing now in alumni. She gave us a vision of what alumni ministry could look like. This week we couldn't decide what shirt to wear. We have two different options, and we decided they really actually kind of go together. So the first one asks the question, and the second one we hope will become more of an answer that we live by every day. So, what's the question we're asking? Are we having fun yet? Well,
yes and no.
The reason why we asked the question is because this part of the journey started with about 3 days of consecutive things going wrong. The first one was as we were leaving Las Vegas. I had a case of food poisoning as we're driving from Las Vegas to San Diego. As we pull into San Diego, all of a sudden I noticed my stomach is churning a little bit, and by the time we pulled into camp, I couldn't make it to the restroom fast enough. So that was how we started off with a bout of food poisoning, and you went off and...
I went off and explored. I was like, okay, you're good without me, right? I don't need to be here for all of this. So I took off. It was our day off, so I went and explored the beaches there in the area, and it was beautiful and just really peaceful.
And my world was not beautiful and very peaceful.
No, far from it.
But then that night, we had another incident.
So then that night, at about 2 a.m., I woke up to the light coming on and him rustling around in the kitchen, just feet from my bed.
It was cold. I was turning on the heater,
like,
and then I noticed the counter is moving.
There were ants, thousands of them crawling all over the countertop in the kitchen.
We had been taken over by thousands and thousands of ants. The next day, I was stamping out, killing as many as I could, and then I realized as we looked around, they're all around the perimeter of the RV.
Crawling around
above our heads where we're sleeping. So we didn't sleep very well that night. The next morning we went and got ant traps. We found out that they were climbing up the stabilizer pole and making a little journey into our dirty dishes. So
we never left dirty dishes.
Yeah, that's it. And then strike three.
So then we had a meeting. David and Joyce Schroeder actually flew in for the week in San Diego with us, and we had a meeting with them. We left our time. We were in the car on the busy freeway heading to the hospitality house, and our little check engine light came on and says, pull over, you're about to overheat. So we did, with cars flying by. Pull out our manual. Meanwhile, we're on our phones, and the battery is getting lower and lower. We didn't realize that. So long story short, we ended up blowing our radiator hose. Somehow got a hole in it, and then we had our battery die on the car. So we had to get towed to a nearby mechanic. But David and Joyce Schroeder were wonderful, and they came and rescued us there. They actually followed us in the tow truck. It was quite funny. But one thing I wanted to say is this time when we had this pickup, literally on our journey, it didn't really rock our world. We just kind of took it in stride, and we were like, okay, whatever, Lord, here we go. And we still got to all of our meetings with our alumni and to the Bible study. So it was really neat to see in the midst of the challenges and the hard things that we found some laughter in the midst, and we still were able to be with our people. And be with each other, and not be with each other. not get on each other's nerves too much. So that brings us to the second shirt that we want to have. They answer the question of, are we having fun yet? We're loving life. That's what we want the answer to be. We want to say, when people are saying, are we having fun yet? We want to say unabashedly, we're loving life. And the only way that that's possible, to love life in the middle of really rough days, is to get connected to the source of love. And get connected to the only life that is true life. The only way to get your love life in order is to get the order right. Real joy is possible by loving Jesus first, loving others second, and loving yourself last. That's loving life. So we're back on the road, and where did we start out? We started off in Albuquerque, New Mexico with Eric Anderson and his wife Linda. They've been married just over, a couple months now. They both lost their spouses a few years back, and the Lord just brought them together in such an amazing way, and we enjoyed our time so much with you guys. And we also had time with
Brian Almeida. Brian's an associate pastor at Faith EV Free there in Albuquerque. He's a retired Marine Corps logistics officer. Here's a little bit of his story.
So I'm Brian Almeida. I spent 21 years in the Marine Corps. I retired about 3 years ago. And now I live here in the Albuquerque area, pastoring a church. And I actually connected with Cadence when I first joined the Marine Corps. I actually accepted Christ in boot camp. So I wasn't raised in a Christian home and really had no idea what it meant to be a Christian or what it was like to walk with Christ. And so my first duty station was actually out in Okinawa. And just some guys invited me to a Bible study. And turns out that Bible study, all the guys that were there, they happened to be involved with the Hanson Christian Center out in Okinawa, the Cadence house there. And so got involved there, spent a year out there, and that's really where I began my walk with the Lord.
So from Albuquerque, we went over to Arizona with an overnight stop in Prescott, Arizona, where we got to spend a little bit of time with one of my old mentors and spiritual fathers, David Needham. We shared a little bit about him on the last video. All we were going to say is he prayed for us at the end of our time together, and he prayed, Father, might they remain small in their own estimations of themselves. What a great prayer for humility. From Prescott, we went down to Phoenix.
Yeah, and there we got to go to the Well Hospitality House where they serve Luke Air Force Base. And we have the Sperry's, Bill and Diane Sperry, serving there. They're new Cadence missionaries. They're doing a great work. They used to be limited term with Cadence, and now they're full-time with us, so that's exciting.
And we got to go to Val and Don Bassett's home, where they hosted the ministry night for the hospitality house. That was really wonderful to see them. They need to be joining Cadence.
Yes, we want you to join. So from there, I actually went to Grand Canyon University the next day while Duncan stayed back at camp working on our video. But I had a wonderful visit there on campus at GCU, Grand Canyon University, getting to meet with one of their students and talk to them about missions conference and just how we can partner with them to get the word out about Cadence possibilities for internships.
We had a gathering in the area that Drew and Shelly Arliskus hosted for us. Drew is on the board for Cadence right now, but they served with Cadence for a while.
Yeah, in Okinawa.
Yeah.
A number of places, actually.
Yeah, and so we're so thrilled to be with them and just enjoy another evening hearing great Cadence stories. After the gathering, we were flying over to Chicago. We parked our RV at Bill and Billy's home. They are friends of the Sperry's.
Thank you for letting us do that.
When we came back, we ended up having a wonderful breakfast with them.
So from there, we flew to Chicago for Easter weekend, and we had a Good Friday service with some of our dear church friends there. And it was, for me, a very personal time of confession out loud in front of that group and in front of Duncan. So very powerful time.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, it was really powerful. Thank you, Jose and Shonda, for hosting us that evening. It was really powerful. We were there for us to meet with some of the new 180 home leaders. These are new couples that are taking reins of leadership, and we just couldn't be more thrilled with who God is raising up. Easter Sunday, we got to spend the day with 180, and we got to do our Easter service with them, and then we had a extravaganza celebration for the community. Then we went for lunch.
Had lunch with Janann and Carl and a few other folks. Fantastic time. And that time was followed by going to Moody Bible Institute to see our son Ben and a bunch of his friends that are from his dorm. And probably about 20 of them. We shared an Easter potluck, and it was great.
Really fun.
It was actually really good food.
So we flew back to Phoenix, and then Ange flew back to Littleton, Colorado, where she had some work done on her teeth.
Some more follow-up work on my dental stuff, but it's all going well.
Yep.
It's all actually finished now.
And so when she came back, we drove up to Las Vegas. There's going to be a new ministry going in there with Sue and Sandy Nafziger.
This fall.
Yep, they will be starting a new hospitality house there.
And we actually got to have a gathering at some dear friends of the Rosemaricks. Their names are Dana and Dave Taplin. And we had a fantastic night reconnecting with some of our Cadence alumni at that meeting. In fact, Norm and Cynthia Dick were attendants of that one. They actually go all the way back to Kaiserslautern, Germany, when I was a teenager at our hospitality house. So we were so glad to have you. And here's a little snippet from part of their alumni story.
We were there 6 years. We were with the hospitality house probably for 4 of those 6 years, I believe. It's something that I've missed because of it was like a huge big family. And to see Angie, it's like we've come full circle all of a sudden. You know, we back at where we started.
Yeah.
My joy is when we left that last day. When you guys saying we are friends forever. And just to see the full circle today, we are truly friends forever. And that's my heart for you and Angie and your family and everything. And now Hospitality House is still there.
Right.
That's the joy, it's still there. And you're still serving servicemen. So I thank you for being still in there and still serving God and the servicemen of our nation and everything. Do appreciate you guys.
We went down to Coronado Island, and Ed and Joy Bissonette are there, starting a new ministry called the Bridge Hospitality House. They serve the military stationed in the San Diego Harbor area. While we were in Coronado Island, we had a few guests. Who were they?
Dave and Joyce Schroeder, President and First Lady of Cadence.
Yes, there you go. Who else was there? Brian Plager,
who is also one of our VPs. He's the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Public Relations.
And Brian did a great job teaching this Thursday Bible study. Oh, what a gift to hear the good word he had to share out of the Bible. So the next day, Friday,
I got to go bike riding with Joy Bissonette. Had a great time exploring the island.
all over Coronado Island, and I ended up going with Ed and Brian and Dave, and the 4 of us went out and played a little bit of golf.
So on Saturday morning, the men actually came to the hospitality house, cooked breakfast together, had a great time outside on the back patio having their Bible study. Us women, meanwhile, got on a golf cart and bikes and went across the island to a friend's house and had our Bible study there, where Joyce Schroeder actually brought the word to us, and it was a powerful time.
The next night we had a gathering with about 25 people in attendance. That was a really special night because what we ended up doing was we ended up having Brian and Dave and Joyce help share some of the evening along with Ed and Joy. And it just made it such a wonderful night for hearing more alumni stories. From Coronado Island, we went on to Los Angeles. Who did we see?
First of all, we saw Leo and Susan Kiley. They are dear friends of ours from years past. In fact, I went to India on a missions trip with Susan Kiley many years ago and taught some of the Dalit women how to sew.
After breakfast, Angie and Susan went off and they went for a long walk and left Leo and I for an incredible conversation about heaven. It was really meaningful. Then we went on the next day.
From there, we had a special visit with Jan Kenson. She actually is a dear, dear friend of our friend Bob Taylor, who passed away just
before the trip.
And she lives in California, and they have been childhood friends since kindergarten and actually shared the very same birthday. So had a very special time. Thank you, Jan, for having us.
So we went on to Ventura, California, and we saw
Jeannie Sterling.
Yeah, she and her husband Al served with Cadence for many years. Then they moved on to a ministry called Ministry Essentials. Years ago, Al passed away, and now Jeannie is still working with Ministry Essentials. But it was a gift to be able to hear some of the heartaches and the joys of what she's doing as she finds a whole new rhythm of life without Al as part of the mainstream of life that she's doing. She's doing incredible things.
She is. Jeannie, I just love your heart for widows and for your grandkids. And for your gift of hospitality. We felt so refreshed and loved on by getting to spend that time with you.
Yeah, we're encouraged to keep going on the hard, narrow way that leads to life. From Vicenza.
No, not Vicenza. Yeah, now we're in Vicenza, Italy.
Yeah.
No, from Ventura, California, we went to Valencia, California.
There we got to spend an afternoon doing work at a discount tire because we got a flat tire. We picked up a nail along the way.
You know, us and our tires.
Yep.
Lovin Life.
Yep.
Here we go.
So who did we see there? Somebody flew in.
Yeah, Sierra Donahue actually is from that area, so her parents offered to have a gathering for us. So we did a gathering at John and Amy Aguirre's home and had a great turnout, and so many incredible alumni stories came out that night.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to highlight one right here.
Yeah,
from
Victor. Yeah, Victor was a member of the Travis Hospitality House, which you'll hear about in just a second. But here's a little of his story.
even though I was not a believer, I felt really just in love with the fact that they did not pressure me to do anything I didn't feel like it. I would just feel comfortable and safe and just enjoying just being able to play games, watch movies, go and do things, do things and whatnot. And they were just so warm, just the meals and just the talks and just the friendships that I made. And so fast forward a year and a half, 2 years later, that's where I came to the Lord. So that's where I got saved. So just a lot of things happened. And that was 2004. I still know the spot where on their yard where it happened, where it's at. So
from Valencia, we drove just up the road a couple hours to Bakersfield, California. The headquarters for International Christian Ministries is at, another ministry I serve with the work that I do in Burundi. It was such a rich time to get together with Dave Chapmas and Beth and Dave Buck. It was so good to be with them, and they were actually the ones who gave us these shirts. We told them we would.
Birthday. It was his birthday, and this is what they gave us.
We're
Lovin Life, you guys.
Yeah, we're enjoying. I'm learning to love life with these shirts.
Good job.
Thanks. So from there we drove to Salinas, California. What a special.
I was born 53 years ago.
Yeah.
So we got to drive by the hospital and just did a little quick tour, and that was just kind of fun to see where
her story began.
Yeah.
From there we took a couple days off in Santa Cruz where we got to enjoy the beach and the giant sequoias.
It was beautiful.
Those are the days that it's really easy to say, I'm loving life.
True.
Yeah. So from Santa Cruz, we went up to San Jose, and there we got to see a couple old friends.
Yes, Mark and Lisa Averill.
Mark was actually the worship pastor at our church just down the road in Damascus. It was really fun just to connect with them.
Then from there, we went to Sacramento, California, right? And we saw the Travis Hospitality House, where Nate and Louise Johnson currently are the directors.
Yep.
Not for much longer. They're transitioning soon, but we had a fantastic time at Bible study on Thursday night with Louise leading. Did a great job.
And they're 4 incredible kids.
Yeah.
Ellie and Kara and Krista and Josh. Oh, what a great group of kids. And we also got to hang out a little bit with Steve and
Rachel Harvell, and they're wonderful kids. We went to dinner at their house one night, and they came and saw the camper, and we all got inside the camper.
They just took over the Peak Airmen's Ministry Center. Here's a few shots of what ministry looks like there.
Got a great ministry going there, you guys. Good work.
We also did an alumni gathering there with about 20.
Yeah, another special evening, and it was just a neat time to connect at that level.
One of those special stories was that of Ray Ruffin. I want to share a little bit of his story here.
The 4 years I've been here, grown spiritually more than I did the 26 other years. But I was thinking just about the name Cadence. Never really thought about it before. And in basic military training, that's when we really focus on cadence and marching in step and being within your flight. And that just kind of mirrors the benefit of community. And sometimes you might be tired, but you have to keep up with everyone. So it kind of motivates you to stick with the group. And then sometimes I would want to just go a little bit faster, but you have to stay together. And as like a team, you're able to achieve so much more than you can do on your own. So seeing how much they love God, how much they love to serve, it's so contagious. It makes me want to know God better, serve Him better, serve the community better. So it's just been very rewarding and encouraging. So I loved it.
After the alumni gathering, we went and spent some time with some old friends of yours, Rick and Rondi Dreff.
Yes, Rondi goes back to 2nd grade for me.
Yep.
It was actually in our wedding as our maid of honor. And we had a really special day just reconnecting, sharing stories of God's faithfulness. I think a lot of the beauty on this trip, though most people I think would think it's about seeing things, it's been about seeing these people and connecting heart to heart. And that's been happening over and over.
The last place that we got to visit in California was Redding, California, where we got to see Brian and Lori Davis. Brian and I were old Malachi singers back in the day. That was just really fun to be able to share an alumni coin with Brian and tell him what an encouragement he was to me.
Lori and I first met when I was 15, and I think my highlight of my time with you, Lori, was just hearing your heart about living in the Spirit and really taking every thought captive and just being so in tune with the Spirit that we're following His lead.
So maybe you're asking the question like we were, RV having fun yet? Well, what we want to say is we're loving life. That's what we want to be able to say more. And that's only possible whenever we're connected to the source of love and the life that is the only true life with Jesus. So that's it for now. Next time you see us, we will be traveling through the Northwest where we're at right now. Any last thoughts?
Just that we love you guys and thank you for being on this journey with us.
Bye for now.